In today's video I wanted to discuss some of the benefits of moving abroad, and what has given me the idea for this video is a comment that I had, particularly around the children, and that uprooting yourselves and moving abroad very regularly would disturb their childhood and their childhood friendships. I think the concern is that the children would not be able to grow friendships over their childhood that would last a lifetime. Well, hello, I'm Sean, and I've recently moved with all of my family, my wife and 3 children, to France, having previously lived in Denmark and previously in the UK before that. I think there are many advantages to moving abroad, and don't get me wrong, it's not a simple process. It's very difficult, it's very stressful. During the move-in you have to deal with a lot of stuff, and of course there are all the worries, including that particular one around the children. I had that worry myself, so it's absolutely something that I thought about. I think the benefits of moving abroad, whether you're a large family or you're single and it's just yourself, the main ones are very similar. You're going to experience a lot of new things. For me, some of the most important are experiencing new ways of thinking. It's certainly something I have experienced myself. My wife is Chinese, and when I married her, of course, there is a clash of cultures and traditions, and you need to learn from each other, and there's a lot to learn. We think differently on many aspects. For example, money. We think completely differently. Now we're far more aligned because we have learned from each other over time. Education is another one which we thought completely different on at the start, but now have come to align somewhere in the middle. And then when we moved to Denmark, and now that we have moved to France, you can see quite clearly that there are different ways of thinking built into the traditions and the cultures that these countries have. And it challenges you. It really challenges the way that you have thought for many, many years. You have grown up in one place for a very, very long time, and you have thought one way and been surrounded by everybody, and all of you are thinking in unison. When you step out of that into somewhere brand new where they think differently, you'll discover that very, very quickly. And I don't mean just going on holiday for a week somewhere, but properly being immersed in the culture, moving there and living there and working there. You are going to experience new languages, and there's no better way to learn a new language than being completely immersed in it in the country that it's spoken. Now, for me as an adult, that's a little bit more challenging. You need to put a lot of work into it, especially because you're busy working. So you have to spend your evenings learning the language. But for the kids, they are immersed in it from the start. They're going to school, they are doing extracurricular activities in that language. And to think what they can learn over a year, over 2, over 5 years. This is incredibly beneficial for their future and their future development. It challenges you a lot, and it leads you down a path where you become, in my opinion, very, very open-minded after you've spent some time in different places. Of course, there's things like experience. You get to go and visit places you've never been before in the world. You get to experience the weather. Maybe it's much better than where you originally came from. You get to go on a new adventure, taste new foods, new cuisines, new flavors. And in this way, life becomes far more memorable in a sense. Now, of course, when you're moving, or when you first have the opportunity to move, you will have a lot of these concerns, especially if you are a large family like ours. You've got kids in school, you have a house, you have a car, you have family, you have friends. The kids have friends, and so these are very valid concerns. But for me, it's about opportunity, not just for us, but also for the children, for my wife. If I'm given the opportunity to do something and it feels very difficult to do, because of that difficulty, it always feels like it's something that you should do, something that you should try. You should push yourself outside of your comfort zone, essentially. It's very easy to be comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with it, of course. There's nothing wrong with staying where you are. If you have the opportunity, you can decline it. But it's about pushing yourself all the time to try new things, do new things, and experience new things. And just to frame it, the first time that we were given the opportunity to move, I was in the UK, and we actually moved to the Congo for 1 year, me and my wife. And at that time, we had just bought a house in Scotland, just a few months prior to the offer. And not only that, but about 1 week prior to the offer, we discovered my wife was pregnant with our first child. So you can imagine in that situation how difficult it was to make that decision. Now at work, there was also a lot of pressure because they really wanted me to go. You have the added pressure from your work and from the expectation that they have of you. The pressure of just having bought a house that you have now got to either sell or rent out, and the concern and worry for my wife, who was now pregnant with our first child, and which is obviously for us at that time a very new experience that we knew absolutely nothing about. But we took that opportunity, we uplifted ourselves, we eventually rented our house out after several months of leaving it empty, and we spent an entire year in Congo, which was a fantastic experience that I would never have had we chosen to have just been comfortable. That of course led to us eventually landing in Denmark, where we settled for 8 years. We bought a house, so we made a big commitment in Denmark. We put our kids into school. they had been there for many, many years, made lots of good friends. And after 8 years had gone by, we then had the opportunity a few months ago to move to France. Now, I'd never lived in France before, and I'd only visited France a few times. But again, it was an opportunity that I and my wife didn't want to pass up. This was a fantastic opportunity, and if we passed on it, we may regret that in the future. And it wasn't easy leaving Denmark. Our house really felt like our place. It felt like our home. It still does in a sense, although it now belongs to somebody else. But of course, because we're not from Denmark, we had to sell that house. We had to sell our car. We had to pull the kids out of school. And especially for our eldest daughter, who had been in that school for almost 5 years, she came to make a lot of very, very good friends, very, very close friends, that she misses to this day. Of course, over time, these friendships will degrade. So it is very difficult. It's not easy. But on the flip side, she now has many new friends in her new school that she has very, very quickly become very, very close to. And same with her son. So yes, she has lost some friends. Hopefully she's able to keep in touch with them, but she has made a lot of new friends as well. And I suppose for kids like ours who are in the international community anyway, just because we're not living in our country of birth, a lot of the people that we know are also international families, and they're coming and going all the time. So people we become very close to have often left eventually anyway. But I see it very much as, if I had said no to moving to Congo, and if I had said no to moving to Denmark, and if I had said no to moving to France, I would have regretted that sometime down the line in the future as an opportunity lost. Yes, I miss the idea right now of having a home, like a physical home, somewhere permanent, that I can build and make my own and keep it my own for many, many years when my kids grow up and they have children and I have grandchildren. That can still happen eventually, but it'll just happen a bit later. Eventually we will settle, I don't know where, but it's not now. Now is the time. Our family is still young. Me and my wife are still young. We're able to move. We have the energy to move. And so we'll continue to do so until such time that we feel it's required to settle. And maybe that's when the kids go to university. We don't know where they're going to go to university. It could be in my home country of the UK, it could be in Europe, could be in, who knows, maybe they won't go to university. We don't know these things. So it's very difficult to plan. But whilst we have the opportunity now and the capability, we will certainly keep experiencing new places and new things for as long as we can. Albert won't remember any of it anyway, because most likely when we leave France, if we leave France, he'll be too young to remember. We are happy and don't regret ever moving, whether that be Congo or Denmark or France. And I hope you agree. That was a yes, right?
Yeah. Because I think we did the best decision at each time, no?
But like I say, for me, it's the same when you're at work and you're given an opportunity. You don't want to pass that opportunity up because you may regret it in the future. So if you're given the opportunity to move somewhere, even if it's difficult, you should still take that opportunity whilst you can.
Yeah. Before, when we moved to Congo, I never regretted to go there. I experienced something different and learned the things from there. They do have good Chinese restaurants there.
There were too many mosquitoes with malaria.
Yeah, but when we were in Congo, the Chinese made everything so much easier. I got my hair cut by a Chinese person. We got our vegetables from a Chinese farmer. We ate at Chinese restaurants. Chinese karaoke.
Changing the money with the Chinese.
But yeah, we used to change money with the Chinese there instead of using my credit card at the bank machine, which is what all my colleagues were doing. So it doesn't matter how difficult it seems, we will always find a way.